Hello and welcome back to another Final Fantasy VII Remake video. Today's video is all about what we can expect to see regarding the Final Fantasy VII Remake at E3 next week. And today I'm joined by an old friend of mine, Mr. StewTube. It's been a while since we've actually made a video like this because obviously our channels fall under different niches. But I'm glad to have you back, mate.
I'm glad to be back, man. If anyone out there has been following the Final Fantasy VII Remake news that has been coming out over the last 6 months, we are here to talk about what we would like to see at E3. Time is drawing to a close, and I'm not sure about you, Roy, but I'm expecting a release date announcement, and I'm thinking that it's probably going to be January or February of 2020.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that everybody wants to see, really. I think everyone's so excited now. Have been excited for the last, 2 or 3 years after that first little, teaser we got. Was that at E3 last year? Maybe that we got that little trailer. I'm not too sure.
I actually think it was 2015 when they first announced it.
Yeah, just put that little teaser, the video. I'm pretty sure was this time last year. It could be wrong. It has felt that long. It probably could be 2015 for all I know, but.
Some of us have actually been waiting all the way back since the launch of the PlayStation 3 with the tech demo. But I don't think that any of the news or any of the footage has really been serious until probably 2017, 2018.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what I'm getting mixed up. But we're definitely, I would like to think anyway that we're going to see some type of maybe, not so much January 2020, but maybe just like, I don't know, a seasonal thing. Maybe they'll come with like spring 2020 or something like that. It'll probably be something like that. I don't think that they're ready to actually give us an actual date just yet. No, it'd be too, I'm gathering the game won't even be complete. So, but the more it draws on, there'll obviously be people who are asking for it this year. Winter. 2019, but I just don't think we're going to see it. So the further it goes on, the closer it's going to push to 5th generation platforms. And I know there's a few games that make the games on, for instance, the PlayStation 4, and then they'll upscale it, or they'll have the software there to make it so it's obviously compatible with the PlayStation 5 and take advantage of all the graphics. But it does make you think of the holding out for the next generation.
Yeah, so whenever they announced the PS5, they actually Sony stated that there's going to be several games that are on the PS4, as well as updated with higher resolutions and all that for the PlayStation 5. I have a feeling that Final Fantasy VII Remake is probably going to be one of those games.
Yeah, so there's going to be no problem then. They're going to be able to cater for both platforms. So the date's not going to be dependent on the next generation console coming out, which I suppose is a good thing.
Yeah, I think it is. It is definitely a good thing. It's unfortunate that it's taken as long as it has, but more than likely that's going to be the situation. Is you're going to see Final Fantasy VII Remake releasing both on PS5 and PS4.
Great news. Well, hopefully all platforms. Hopefully not just a PlayStation exclusive.
Oh yeah, we can't forget about those Xbox players out there.
Me being one of them.
Yeah.
And another thing I suppose is worth talking about, and I think is vital that they mention as well, is of how many episodes of the game we're going to expect, because I think it's important from a marketing perspective to know what you're paying for before you obviously before they start bringing like the pre-orders out.
Right. So it's been quote unquote confirmed that there's going to be 2 episodes, 2 different releases. I don't really see how that's going to be possible. If you look at Final Fantasy XIII, that was a trilogy, and each one of those games was 60-something hours. They've stated that there's going to be changes and additions to the story, and they have also stated that there's going to be a world map, and transitions from the world map into towns are going to be seamless, and towns are going to be bigger and feel much more lived in. So all of that's been confirmed, which leads me to think that I just don't see how it could only be 2 episodes. I think it's going to end up being 3, just simply because of the number of towns. If you look at Final Fantasy 15, you only got 3 towns in the whole entire game, and 2 of them were explorable anytime you wanted, and they were located on like a sort of world map, and that's how it worked in 15. The transition from the world map into towns was seamless. The 3rd town in the game was only accessible during like a story moment, and you couldn't really travel freely to and from it. So if you think about the number of towns in Final Fantasy VII, I just don't see how they're going to be able to fit all of that in just 2 games.
No, because when you actually think about it as well, Final Fantasy VII at the time, and I suppose it kind of still is, because you can still, you can plunder 20, 30, 40 hours into the game and, enjoy it to the day. But each town, for instance, like Midgar, it was very there was only a few areas of Midgar that you got to explore. There's a lot of all, like the cities, for instance, we basically just seen the front of them. We didn't actually get to see the in-depth look at it, and I think that's something they're obviously going to explore within the remake.
Yeah, that is definitely something that they plan to explore. They've actually confirmed that and stated that.
It'd be stupid not to, wouldn't it? It'd be kind of ridiculous to spend all this time making a game and not exploring every nook and cranny, so to speak. So yeah, episode-wise, I'd like to think there'd be more, but it also depends how much you can, put on one disc, especially with maybe 5th generation. You never know.
You mentioned exploring every nook and cranny of every town. This is just my own little prediction here. I do not think that Midgar is going to be fully explorable. I think that section of the game is going to be pretty linear, and then it's going to open up to a more open world setting. It may even be the case that the game functions very, very linear until you reach Costa del Sol.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it is kind of like that. The first time around, not all the towns were that explorable. Midgar wasn't explorable. Whereas when you did go to, even when you first got to like the likes of Carl and stuff, they were you got to see the whole town. But yeah, I can see where you're coming from, and I understand the point. But we've got to be able to see more sectors of Midgar, surely.
It would be absolutely awesome if you could. That's just my personal prediction. I just don't see. They would have to add a lot of optional content if they're going to let you explore all of Midgar.
No, of course. Another thing that I think we might be able to say that we're, not necessarily, but the idea behind this one is the fact that we've seen a little bit of Aerith or Aerith, depending when you got into Final Fantasy VII. With it seeing a reveal of Aerith, there's a lot of people anticipating who we could maybe see a reveal of at E3. Tifa seems to be the name floating about at the moment that everybody kind of wants to see a reveal of at E3. And it kind of makes a lot of sense, but there are others like Red 13, Vincent, Sid, Yuffie, Katsith, things like that. But I think Tifa's the one that everyone wants to see, don't they, Rob?
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk all over the internet about what Tifa is going to, what she's going to look like, all that. I think that will probably be the next person that we see revealed, mostly because she's one of the characters that joins your party early on. So it only makes sense for her to be revealed next. We've seen Barrett, Cloud, Aeris. We've seen Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse, so it only makes sense that Tifa's the next one to be revealed.
It's got to be. And another thing we did actually see in the most recent trailer was we seen a bit of Sephiroth, I believe. So I would like to think, as well, while we're on the subject of obviously characters, we might see a sneak peek of maybe a potential ramp up in the marketing efforts and interest with him maybe walking through the flames of Nibelheim. I don't know what you think about that.
Well, yeah, no, I think so. I think you're right. We're probably going to see a lot more Sephiroth, Genova, some of the Turks to really get us all on the hype train.
Well, put it this way: if I seen Sephiroth walking through flames at E3, I'd be throwing my money at the telly. So,
yeah, same here.
I think it'd be kind of stupid from a marketing point of view not to. Another thing, I'd like to see a more in-depth, maybe look into the battle system. I've got a feeling that they kind of owe us that. It's been one burning question that the whole of the community have kind of been asking more about. Yet we know it's an action-based battle system. We don't know actually how it's going to work. So before they show you a bit of gameplay, they do like to maybe sometimes bring out a controller and show you how to do certain things. Of certain coverages of E3. So it'd be kind of good to see if they've done something along those lines with the battle system.
Right, so as far as predictions go, as far as the battle system is concerned, I think that right now it's still pretty much anyone's game. It's been confirmed that it's going to be action-based, but there hasn't really been much explanation as into how the menus are going to work and how the materia system is going to work. I think that it would definitely be a good idea for them to bring out a controller with some type of working demo, and there is a working demo. That has also been confirmed.
Ah, cool. I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, same here. Something that I would like to see is if if anyone out there has played 15, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have, there was a way in 15 to change the combat system to where you could pause mid-fight. It wasn't really pause, it would just like slow it down tremendously, and it would give you the ability to like run through your item menu, select different items to use on your different, on the other cast members. A feature like that in 7, I think, could definitely bridge the gap between those that are fans of action combat and turn-based combat, is if we could get some kind of feature like that we could use in order to navigate the materia system menus and the item menus and all that, and give us the opportunity to set up for awesome combos. I think that would be the best way to pull off keeping the materia system intact, and I think it would make a lot of people happy, and like I said, it would bridge that gap between fans of action combat and turn-based combat.
Yeah, so bottom line, we have got to see a bit more information regarding the battle system for the community. So the next segment of this video is things that we'd like to see personally at E3. Not necessarily that we will, but more what we'd like. If we could get any type of surprise, these are the surprises that we kind of want. So the first one we want a bit more information on is the world map gameplay. We want to see a bit of actual footage of what it looks like running around the world map, and just how in-depth everything is in general.
Right, so I have a feeling that a lot of what we're going to see is going to be reminiscent of how Final Fantasy XV's world map worked. I think that monsters are going to be free roaming around the world, and once you approach them, that's when you're going to go into combat. I think that we're going to have a day and night cycle, possibly some weather effects, which would be interesting. I don't think 15 had weather effects, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it did. It did, I remember, because you had to kill certain monsters when it was thunder and lightning in the dark and stuff. I remember it was a pain. It was a pain in the arse. Trust me.
Yeah.
I hope it's bigger than Final Fantasy 15 though, because even though Final Fantasy's, it wasn't even a world map. It was just like a region. It was quite small. It was just a few winding roads with a few towns off it. I think this is going to be, surely it's going to be a bigger scale than that, and hopefully we can see maybe just a bit more than Midgar.
Yeah, it would be cool to see some footage of the party entering Calm. I know that one of the things that they have stated and confirmed is that the seamless transitions between world map and town, definitely something that I want to see.
I can only imagine when Cloud and Barrett first walk into the Chocobo Ranch. I can imagine it now. Another thing what I'd really like to see, we talked before about character reveals. I'd like to see some footage of Ultimate Weapon, flying through the sky, maybe towards Midgar, the cannon scene, for instance, or maybe some, visuals of Emerald Weapon underwater, or Ruby scouring the deserts of the Gold Saucer, Rob.
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome to see. I can only begin to imagine what Emerald Weapon is going to look like in modern day graphics, because Emerald was massive. However, I think that, huge. I think that footage like that is probably going to come around for the second installment of the game. So I don't think that we'll see any of that at E3.
Well, I don't know. From a marketing point of view, if I was the guy behind that, I'd want to release some images of Ultimate Weapon. But talking about Emerald Weapon kind of segues me back to the world map gameplay. Surely the underwater part of Final Fantasy VII, which at the time was unique, having two kind of like world maps, so to speak, it was quite minimal. It'd be kind of good maybe to see that expanded as well.
I remember 12-year-old me playing Final Fantasy VII, always I would explore that underwater area like crazy. I would always try to find a way to break out into the actual outer oceans. It would be cool to see that whole area expanded upon, which, should they decide to do that, for those of you that got the underwater guide or undersea guidebook from that monster at the Mako reactor in Junon, they could actually take that item and make some kind of cool side quest out of that.
Oh, yeah. Imagine a big, I don't know. We've got obviously Emerald and Ruby. Imagine another weapon underwater, I don't know, in some type of abyss. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
So another thing I'd really love to see some actual footage, even if it is just minimal, is maybe that of limit breaks. Seeing Cloud using Omni Slash. Or even just, I don't know, even just Clim Hazard. Something minimal of one of the, maybe even Tifa using Beat Rush, Limit breaks would be a good point from a marketing point of view, just to to give us as a teaser.
Yeah, limit breaks would be cool to see, but can you imagine what Supernova is going to look like?
Oh, don't. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even. Do you know what? That thought did not even cross my mind. That would be absolute. That's going to be It looked amazing in '97. So God knows what it's going to look like 22 years later.
Yeah. I can see it now. Got my surround sound turned up way too high. Windows are shaking. All that craziness. Yeah, that'll be something to see. That
kind of moves us nicely onto the final. The final one that we kind of want to see before we move on to a few Facebook questions. Guardian Forces. I would absolutely love to see, even if it's just a visual of Ifrit or Shiva. Knights of the Rounds, obviously asking a bit too much, but just maybe a visual of a Guardian Force of some sort. Will just, I'll be a little weeping teenager again over the game, I think.
The whole concept of summoning giant monsters like that is one of the things that's always set Final Fantasy apart from other RPGs back in the day. 15, I think, handled it both very poorly and really well at the same time.
Yeah, visually amazing, but the way that you used them was just an absolute. It was a horror show. You need to be able to use these like you did in '97 when you want to for your magic points.
Absolutely, I completely agree. Having to wait around for a summon to finally decide to show up and help you was really irritating in 15, because you could be like fighting the boss at the end of a dungeon and be praying to God that someone shows up to help you out, and they never do. So the area in which they handled it well in 15 that really impressed me was the effects on the surrounding environment. Whenever you summon that monster, they would always leave some kind of massive impression on the ground, whether it was a fire summon burning up all the shrubbery around you, or if you summon like an ice summon in 15, and it would actually make the area around you start to snow.
Yeah,
I thought that was something that was like it really made you feel like you just summoned some giant beast into battle. It did, and the audio as well. I must admit, the audio that come over the like an angelic sound. As it happened, that side of it, they did, well and truly nail it down. But yeah, let's just hope and pray to God. I did notice a few people on Facebook talking about when we mentioned that we were doing this video today, that when it comes to the Guardian Forces, they need to know basically that it's going to be, you choose when they appear. And it's a lovely little segue, and I didn't even mean that. So we've got a few Facebook questions. For any of you that are watching this video that don't know, we have a Final Fantasy HQ Facebook group. The link will be in the description. And we put a question to the guys in there regarding this video of what things they would like to see at E3 as well. And there were a few that kind of cross-referenced what we'd already talked about, but there were a few unique ones and interesting subjects that we thought we'd pick up. First one is from Matthew Falks, and he said, I would like to know if we would see like a carbon copy of the story and gaming experience. For example, X location is a chest that contains X item, or are we expected subtle or larger changes? So I think what Matthew means is, so for instance, the way you get Comet from a little house sitting in the Forgotten Capital, or the Knights of the Rounds on, in the Round Island once you get the Gold Choco. Is everything going to be a carbon copy? So basically everybody is a walk-in Final Fantasy Remake guide, so they just know where everything is. Rob, what do you think? I think that you'll still get Comet at the Forgotten Capital, but the Forgotten Capital is not going to be the same Forgotten Capital that we had back in 1997. It's going to be a bigger area, more explorable. There's probably going to be more buildings. So I think that the general locations for certain items are going to remain the same, but specific rooms and houses, I think, will be probably different. Maybe a bit of story, maybe a few little quests to pick up these things, because Comet was, arguably, well, it probably was the strongest magic materia. I know no one used it in the end, but it was just sitting in a room. Now, for things like that, you expect it to be tough, like the way you get Knights of the Round, for instance. You have to get a gold chocobo. I just think getting Comet was a bit too easy. We talked off the mic before about the Rune Blade in the Nibelheim reactor. On the way up, you go round the back of the mountain and it's just sitting in a chest. If all those things are in the exact same place, will that not take a bit of the excitement surrounding the remake away? Because we know where everything is. I think that would take some excitement out of it. So it might be cool to see a little bit more dialogue surrounding finding some of these items. Like we talked about what is it going to be like finding Knights of the Round up at that island. You know, I think that it would be cool to have some kind of a boss fight there.
I'm going to put it out there. Just literally thought of this now. Imagine it was like Final Fantasy X, and you had to fight the summons before they joined you. Imagine fighting Knights of the Round on Round Island. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. I'm not sure I would want to fight that, to be honest. I'd probably just leave the materia there and turn around and walk out of the cave.
Yeah, I'm happy with Alexander and a bit on Bahamut. You're all right.
Yeah. We'll just leave Knights of the Round alone.
Yeah, definitely. Tony Bull, she asked, will they be releasing a special edition console like they did with Crisis Core on the PSP or Final Fantasy 15 on the PS4? Now, I don't think we're going to hear anything on that at E3, but I think that's more something we could look at when they start bringing out pre-orders for, you know, different variants of the game.
Right, yeah, I agree. I think that E3 this year is probably a little bit early to hear anything about that. However, it would be cool, and I'm sure it's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not a PlayStation guy myself, so if this comes out on PlayStation first, I will be purchasing one. So it would kind of cool to kill two birds with one stone and get a limited edition PlayStation. Ryan Demise, I think that's how it's pronounced, has asked, he'd like to know if Emerald and Ruby will be making appearance as optional bosses again. Now, I think 150% that is certain they are both still going to be in this game, aren't they, Rob?
Oh, yeah. They'll definitely be in there. Now, will we see them at E3 this year? That's hard to say. If we do, it'll probably be a little bit of a promotional material, just a quick little screenshot. The future is where we're going to see that.
Great stuff. And finally, Adam Moore, we basically answered this, but we will just cover it. He really wants to see a world map, but imagines that won't happen. So that, you know, we talked about that in depth before, but I think he actually means he wants to see an actual world map, as, you know, as the image, for instance.
Yeah. So what I'm assuming he's talking about is how back in the original Final Fantasy VII, while you were running around on the world map, you could also press the you could press select button and pull up an actual, like a two-dimensional map. Mm-hmm. I think that's definitely we're probably going to get that. I think it's safe to say, because
you think we'll get that at E3? Do you think that'll be revealed then, or do you just mean you think we'll get one in general?
I think that it'll be in the game. It's hard to say if they're going to cover that at E3. Now, if they show any kind of footage of Cloud and Company running around outside of Midgar, we might see that on screen. Who knows, really? It may or may not show up at
like a little hood in the top right corner or something.
Exactly, yeah.
Some small feature. Right, I think we've covered everything that we need to cover for this video. It's been a pleasure, Rob, as usual.
Oh, yep, you too. You too.
If anybody does want to sit down and watch Square Enix's E3 press conference, that will be actually, from this video, this Sunday, so it'll be tomorrow. And depending where you live, so North America, it'll be at 6 p.m. UK, it'll be 2 a.m. So for me, it'll be a late one. The rest of Europe is 3 a.m. and Australia, Asia, and Oceania. Oceania is 10 a.m. in the morning. So it is literally right round the corner. And what we'll do is next week, Rob, I think we'll put together a video of everything that we've learned from it. And if you do want to check out Rob's channel, the link will be in the description below for that. He covers everything JRPG related from the 90s. But this is the first of many. I hope, Rob, it's gone pretty well. Hopefully we can pick up now that the marketing's going to pick up for the remake. Hopefully you can make a few more videos like this. Yeah, that is the plan. We will be covering everything Final Fantasy VII Remake related between now and the release. I suppose we'll have to come up with a good sign-off for the next one, Rob. We've not done it before, but if you did enjoy that video, please do drop a like. Go and subscribe to Rob. If you're new to my channel, drop me a sub as well to let me know you're enjoying these Final Fantasy videos. And until next time, take care.